Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we are going to be taking a look at the Spanish language. And, we really have you to thank for this one because this was inspired by a listener request.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Someone wrote in and said they were interested in learning a little bit of Spanish, but really wanted to make sure that the conversations they were learning would be friendly and jovial and very fun.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's really what it's all about at the end of the day, right? It's about connecting and expressing yourself with some warmth.
Exactly.
And maybe even a little bit of laughter, too. Why not?
Yeah. And so to get us started, we've got a whole stack of sources here all about the Spanish language. We're going to try to get through all of them, of course. And we're going to kick things off by taking a look at greetings.
Okay, sounds good.
Saludos.
Saludos.
Right.
Yeah, and one of the first things you'll notice about Spanish greetings is that they really place an emphasis on the time of day. So, you got your classic hola. That works anytime, but then it starts to get a little bit more specific.
Right. So like buenos dias for the morning, buenas tardes for the afternoon, buenas noches in the evening.
Exactly. Yeah. It's almost like they just built that awareness of time right into the language.
Yeah. It's cool. So it's reflecting their culture, I guess, in a way.
Oh, absolutely. Spanish-speaking cultures really do tend to place a strong emphasis on being aware of the time and how it shapes the interactions that you have.
I see. So like if I were to waltz into a cafe in Madrid at like noon and say buenas noches, it might not go over so well.
Well, maybe not. You might get a chuckle out of someone, but
yeah,
you live and you learn, right?
I'll stick with hola then in that case.
There you go.
So all right, we've mastered the art of the greeting.
Okay.
What's next? What do we do now? How do we continue these friendly and jovial Spanish conversations?
Well, introductions are always key.
Okay.
And our sources actually highlight some very handy phrases for that, like me llamo, which just means my name is, followed by, well, your name.
Me llamo. My name is Chirigisi. Got it.
Yeah.
And what about if I want to tell people where I'm from?
For that, you're going to want to use soy
de.
Which literally means I am from, and then you can just follow it up with your country of origin.
Okay, got it. So me llamo, and then my name, soy de, and then where I'm from.
Perfect.
That's simple enough.
Exactly. And if you want to add a touch of that jovial spirit that you're looking for, you could even try throwing in like a fun fact about yourself, maybe some hobbies or interests or something like that. Yeah. So for example, you could say something like, me gusta bailar salsa. I like to dance salsa.
Oh, okay. So we're really personalizing it a little bit.
Exactly. Inject a little bit of your personality right into the introduction. It's like you're saying, hey, let's be friends and maybe even dance sometime.
I love that. All right. So we've introduced ourselves.
Okay.
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, you might run into this kind of interesting concept of formality levels in Spanish, which is all about choosing the right you. So in Spanish, you have tú, which is used for friends and family. And then you have usted, which is used to show respect to maybe your elders or people in authority.
I see. So it's sort of like choosing between like a playful fist bump and a very respectful handshake.
Exactly.
Depending on who you're talking to. Okay.
I see. Yeah, because using the wrong one could lead to some awkward moments. It would be like showing up to a formal dinner wearing a swimsuit. You just don't want to do that.
I see what you mean. All right, so we've greeted, we've introduced ourselves, we've navigated the minefield of you.
Okay.
I guess it's time to tackle some grammar now, huh?
Yeah, you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
All right. Our sources seem to suggest that we start with articles. Those little words like the and a that come before nouns.
Okay.
So in Spanish, you have el and un for masculine nouns and la and una for feminine nouns.
Okay, so far so good. So el libro for the book, un libro for a book. But wait a second, don't Spanish nouns have genders?
Yes. That's where it gets a little interesting. Because those articles we just talked about, they actually change depending on the gender and the number of the noun.
Okay, hold on. So if we're talking about multiple books, like the books, it would become los libros because it's plural and masculine.
Precisely.
Okay.
And if we change to a feminine noun, like let's say house, then you would have la casa for the house and las casas for the houses.
So there's a lot to keep track of here.
There is, yeah.
I can see how this could start to feel like a little bit of a linguistic puzzle.
Well, think of it as a dance, not a puzzle. With practice, it'll become second nature.
A dance call.
You just start to feel the rhythm of the language, and then you just know instinctively which article to use.
All right, I'm willing to give this grammar dance a try.
All right.
But I'm hoping pronouns are a little bit more straightforward.
Well, they are. for the most
Yeah.
part. You have your basics, right? Yo for I, tú for you,
Right.
él and ella for he and she, all that good stuff. But of course, Spanish does like to add a little flair here and there.
Here we go again.
So while most Spanish speakers will use ustedes for the plural you, in Spain they use vosotros.
Ah, so it's like a little secret handshake
Exactly.
for those in the know.
Yeah.
This is what I love about language learning. It's like you get to uncover these little quirks, and they give you a glimpse into these different cultures.
Yeah, and when you think about it, it makes sense, right? Because this language has such a global reach that, of course, there are going to be all sorts of variations and different dialects.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really is a testament to the diversity of the Spanish language.
Right. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've done greetings, introductions, some grammar fundamentals.
Yeah.
And we've even had a chance to peek into some of the cultural nuances of Spanish.
That's right.
So I think it is time to inject some fun back into our deep dive with the Fun Facts Fiesta.
Let's do it.
All right, you ready?
Bring on the fiesta.
Okay, so are you ready for some fun facts?
Hit me with it.
All right, get this. Spanish is the second most spoken language in the world. By native speakers, I should clarify.
Wow. Second place, huh?
I know. I mean, I knew Spanish was popular, but didn't realize it was that popular.
Yeah, well, it's had a very interesting journey,
Yeah.
If you think about all the history, Spanish colonialism and migration patterns, even the global reach of like Spanish music and movies, it all plays a role.
Right. You know, speaking of that global reach that we're talking about, I actually was in Morocco once.
Okay, yeah.
And a lot of people spoke Spanish there, which I was really surprised about.
Wow.
It really got me thinking about how language can connect people across, continents and cultures.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Language is definitely not confined by borders.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty amazing when you look at the history of Spanish and how it's absorbed all these influences from the different cultures it's encountered. And, it's just resulted in this incredible variety of dialects and variations.
So it's not really just one Spanish.
Right.
It's like a bunch of different
collection.
Yeah, like a collection of different flavors of Spanish, each with their own personality.
That's a great way to put it.
It's cool. It's sort of like how, even within our own language, we have different accents.
Of course, yeah.
Slang and stuff like that.
Absolutely. It makes language learning so interesting. You're not just learning the words and the grammar, but you're stepping into a whole world of cultural richness and diversity.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that's why it's so important to approach learning Spanish with, like we said earlier, that sense of jovial fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're going to embrace all these regional variations and cultural nuances, we might as well do it with a smile.
Exactly. Language learning should be joyful.
Yeah.
Think about it. You learn a new word or phrase, and you're not just expanding your vocabulary. You're gaining a new tool to connect with people and share laughter, build relationships.
Yeah. And I imagine there are tons of hilarious stories out there about
I'm sure.
language mishaps and like cross-cultural misunderstandings.
Yeah.
I bet those are really funny.
Well, they are.
They probably feel kind of embarrassing in the moment, but then they become these really memorable parts of the journey.
Oh, absolutely.
Of learning a new language.
They really do.
All right. So we've talked a lot about the fun part.
Okay.
But I kind of want to dig into the jovial a little bit more. Like, are there specific ways that Spanish reflects warmth and friendliness in its everyday expressions?
That's a great question. One thing that comes to mind is diminutives.
Diminutives.
Yeah.
True.
So in Spanish, you can add suffixes to words like ito or ita.
Okay.
And it adds like a sense of endearment or affection.
Oh, I see. So like instead of just saying casa for house,
right,
I could say casita to make it sound like...
Yeah. More
Oh,
charming,
okay.
cozy.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
And it doesn't just apply to objects. You can use it with names.
Mm.
Food, adjectives, you name it. It's a way of injecting warmth and personality into your speech.
It's like you're adding a little sparkle
Exactly.
to your words.
Yeah. Little linguistic hug.
Yeah.
I love this.
It's that attention to detail, that desire to make things sound beautiful and expressive.
Yeah.
It's a big part of what makes Spanish so captivating,
I can see why you're so passionate about this language.
Oh, well.
It's more than just words and grammar. It's like a way of life. It's a way of seeing the world with a little more color and warmth.
Absolutely. Well said.
So you've got me thinking now about travel.
Yeah.
How Spanish could open up all kinds of incredible experiences. I'm convinced I got to learn Spanish.
Yes.
It's going right on the bucket list. But let's say I can't hop on a plane to Spain right away.
Yeah.
Are there other things I can do to keep up with Spanish?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of resources available these days. You got language learning apps, online courses, even podcasts,
Yeah. Speaking of podcasts.
Are there any podcasts out there that really focus on, friendly, jovial, fun Spanish conversation?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There are podcasts designed for learning Spanish through storytelling or comedy, even interviews with everyday people speaking Spanish. It's really cool.
That's so cool.
It's a great way to kind of immerse yourself in the language and the culture in a more relaxed way.
Yeah, okay, cool. And I bet there are a ton of movies and TV shows too, right?
Oh, yeah. Tons. And don't underestimate the power of watching something you already enjoy, like a favorite movie or something, but dubbed in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
It's a great way to kind of passively absorb the language.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you already know what's happening.
Exactly. Yeah. So it takes the pressure off.
Yeah. That's a good idea. All right. So it sounds like there are a lot of ways to make language learning feel a little less like studying and a little more fun.
Right. And remember, the goal isn't to become fluent overnight.
Yeah, of course.
It's about enjoying the process, celebrating the little wins, gradually building up your confidence over time.
So it's okay if I mess up sometimes.
Oh, yeah, of course. Embrace it. Laugh at yourself and keep going.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. You've given me a lot to think about.
Well,
I'm feeling inspired.
good.
Ready to take on this Spanish language adventure?
That's the spirit.
Any last words of wisdom?
Well, just remember that language learning really is a gift that you give yourself. It's an opportunity to connect with new people and experience different cultures,
Yeah.
So just embrace the journey. Have fun.
I love it. I'm ready to greet the world with a hola and a whole lot of heart.
I can't wait to hear all about your adventures.
Well, thanks for joining us, everyone, for another deep dive. We'll see you next time. Hasta la próxima.